And with some 12 minutes after 8, you're still here on the AM show, and our show is brought to you by Mixi Coffee. Well, 2 weeks ago, we started talking about our rights, really. It started off, general rights. What rights do we have, especially when there are shortages of fuel, when we are frustrated with things happening in the country? What can we do? It was a very good conversation. And then we followed up, and today we're talking property rights. Well, and the person who's been helping us all as well is the president of the Legal Advocacy Foundation, Dr. Maurice Ampao. Well, the 1992 Constitution in Article 22 imposes an obligation on Parliament to enact legislation to regulate property rights of spouses to have equal access to property jointly acquired during marriage. It also allows for matrimonial property to be equitably distributed between spouses upon termination of the marriage. So the big question we are asking, what rights do couples have after divorce or separation, or even in the case of death? Dr. Maurice Ampao, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time again.
Morning.
And let me just say that I'll activate the lines so that if you have concerns, if you have issues, you want some legal advice, you can give us a call later on 0302-211-69102. I'm not going to repeat the number again. I will when I say the lines are activated. So what rights do couples have? Do they at all?
Yes.
What's the position of the law?
Yes, the position of the law was initially very confusing. It was one area that the judgment, various judgment has been able to actually made it certain. There were so many discrepancies, and the issue has been there until the recent Supreme Court case, Mensah versus Mensah, brought some settlement in it. But I was initially to start with, what you ought to know, that before you get married, if you have acquired any property, it is yours. That's the law.
If you have
acquired any property before marriage.
Before marriage,
yes,
okay.
You need to mark that property. That's what couples ought to do. Before you got married, whatever you have acquired as a couple is your property. It's not part of the business. It's not part of
But the point is, if I bought a fridge or a cooker before marriage, do I have to keep the receipt because that's the only proof that it is mine?
Yes, definitely. You need to do that because before you get married, it's very important that you need to earmark the property that you have, you own individually. So at least that one will be earmarked as property acquired before marriage. Now the problem now becomes property acquired during marriage. That is where the controversy comes, because you have a situation whereby the man and the woman enter into marriage and they don't have any written agreement as to how they are going to distribute the property either before or after divorce. So once there's no written agreement documented, then there is a presumption that we owe the property together.
Yes.
But at times,
after all, the two shall become one.
And out of love, we...
Doesn't the law recognize the two shall become one?
Yes, but when it comes to property, the law initially tries to recognize, but we also have to know that under the Constitution, we have individual rights, the right for the individual to own property. So you need to balance the two. Now, what happens is that when couples then get married, there is this problem of one party trying to see itself as the breadwinner and owner of property. Most of the times, it's the man. So we have an arrangement where the man can easily tell the woman that, you use your money for chop money, use your money to pay the school fees, whilst I use your money to acquire the property. And then some men, I don't know, out of wickedness, decide to keep receipts. They purchase land, they build house, the indenture is in his only name, the document of the land is in his own name. Everything that is acquired is the name of the man. And even when he goes to the site, it is only the laborers who sees the man. So the woman interested in the matter is quiet. Now the woman, you realize that also has been told to spend money on foodstuff. And hardly do you keep receipts. When a woman goes to the market, if you buy tomatoes,
you don't take receipts. There's nothing like that.
There are some women who, out of love, if you want to go and then they pay school fees in their name, they want the receipt to be in the name of their husband because they feel like, is your husband not responsible?
Yeah, he's
women out of love, women do love, and they go into marriage with the big heart that my husband. But then what comes the issue when there is divorce? Now you realize that we want to share the property. We call it property settlement. Then the issue is who owns the property and what proportion. It becomes a great issue. Now, during the colonial days and during the traditional days, they said women do not own property. Whatever a woman does is to support the man, and the man's role is to take care of the woman. But then, now the modernity and the law have now changed. The law now is that once you get married, and then you decide to acquire property, whether jointly or not, there is this law called division of labor between the two. Once the man will decide to go and work, the woman decides to become the manager of the home. They are dividing their work. Therefore, any property that is acquired during the marriage is presumed to be the joint ownership of the two.
Okay.
So now the law is that once you get married, no matter what you do, whether the woman is not employed, whatever service is doing is contributing indirectly to the acquisition of the property. So now the issue...
What if there's proof that the man spent his money, you know, building a house, for instance?
Yes, if there's proof that the man bought the house, even alone, during the course of the marriage, then the woman's interest will be the services that she rendered to assist the woman. Because if you built the house alone, then it means that the woman was assisting you. For example, if the woman have children, he did the nanny's role, and if you have to pay for the nanny services, if he had the maid, you know, and then the woman supporting you, giving you the love and the peace to save. And then there's another value that even the court have placed value on the sexual services that women render.
Oh, really?
Yes, because you see, these days there's a value on sex. If you go to the market, commercialization of sex.
Yeah, but prostitution is illegal.
No, but we know the court takes judicial notice of those things, that if a woman in marriage, if you have sex twice in a week, and you are married for 30 years, twice in a week, times and then times 4, then times 1 month, then times 30 years. Can you imagine how many sex you have had from a woman?
Yeah, but was it only the man who was enjoying it? The woman was as well.
But we all know that hardly do women pay for sex services in our jurisdiction. You see,
is that a fair law?
No, it's not fair. But that's the President's Convention. We go and pay for sex. And that has been the thing. They all know it's discriminatory. But
so if the judge determines that there was sexual activity during the process of, you know, when you were building the house and everything, then it would say
you see,
the woman did something.
Yeah, definitely. The judge doesn't want to have the position like the woman was a useless woman. You know, that's how the position of some men. They go to court and say, my Lord, this woman is useless. I've never seen her money before. She has never contributed anything. That's the position of the man. Because the man has this agenda. Look, I own everything. I give the chop money. So the woman is just somebody who produces the children. And even I take care of the children. And the court want to prove to you that if the woman did nothing at all, even the
she did something in the bedroom.
In the bedroom, which you can place value on. So consider that one. Because if the woman was not there and would go out there to have sex with any other girl, the woman will charge you.
Yes.
This is a thing. You provide for them. So, and then also, the woman also contributes. They gave you peace.
So, is there a fixed amount on the sex bit?
No, there's no fixed amount. You see, they just want to prove a point to you that, look, never during the course of the marriage, never come to a position thinking that as a man, you can say that your wife contributed nothing.
Nothing, okay.
Because whatever you acquired, a contribution may be indirect. Because maybe he gave you comfort. He gave you that peace of mind. He did not ask too much. That's why you were able to save. You know, he supported you morally. He also paid for certain services that he's not receipted for. You know, maybe salt, and maybe trying to abstain from certain kind of lifestyle. That's why you were able to save. You see, so that contribution of the woman is recognized in law.
Okay, so what if the property is in the form of a house or a car and is one? How is it divided?
Normally, when the court realized that the property was acquired during the course of marriage, one of the famous case of Mensa Mensa, what the court will do is that equity is equality.
So what's this Mensa Mensa case?
It talks about a man who got married, and then the man thought that the woman has contributed nothing to the acquisition of the house. Therefore, he is entitled to all the property. And he was able to produce receipt to that effect.
Okay.
You see, so that's the presumption. The court said, look, let's move away from finding out who contributed what. It's very difficult because at times the evidence may not support. So when the court is finding it difficult to find out the share of each party, equity says that let's divide it equally. So the court was trying to say that once you marry and there's evidence that every property you acquire during the course of the marriage, let's do what is equitable. Let's do what is fair. Allow both parties equal share in the property.
So it's either you both live in that house equally as owners, or you sell and you share the money.
Yes, what you do is that when you realize that you cannot live together, what you do is that they value the property, and then you can buy the interest of one another.
Okay.
So if the property is 2 billion, then the one who wants to take the property must make available 1 billion to the other party, and that's how, including.
But so what if the other person really didn't contribute anything? If, for instance, there was the two were separated before this property was acquired, would the law recognize it, or the law doesn't recognize separation, not divorce?
Yes, our law do not recognize separation. Separation, even if you are separated, you are still married. That's how the law sees it.
But that's not fair.
Yes, that's our law. Currently, our law looks at divorce. Separation is just temporary, being where you are, and but you are still legally married. So whatever you are acquiring, you should know the consequences. That's why you should be very careful. And it is very interesting because the law, I think, has been able to do away with the unfair and then the hardship that normally goes with it. And then you see, we should also be very careful that it is not only the man who will be entitled to the woman.
Okay, because I was just going to ask, is it the other way too?
Yes, the law is fair. If you have a wife,
it depends on the judge. Does it depend on the judge?
No. It depends on the law. The law says that if you have a wife who is very, very resourceful and the man do not have, then the same thing applies to you. If you acquire the property and if the woman have contributed about 90%, once the property was acquired during the marriage, the property should be shared equally,
okay, so
because the man also have contributed something to you.
Let me get this clear. You don't necessarily have to get your name on the title, if it's a land, for instance, the land title, because if finally it gets to court and you're separating or you're divorcing and it goes to court, you have equal share. Is that it?
Yes.
Or we're still encouraging people to have their names on the land
titles
as well?
What you need to find out is, was the property acquired during the course of the marriage? That's the key issue.
Okay.
If it was acquired before marriage, then the person whose name is on the document is entitled alone. So before I got married to you, I had my property. Then you don't share in it.
But here's the thing. Before we got married, you had a house,
yes,
and I came to live in it
as
a wife. So are you saying that if there's divorce and I'm going back, I just have to pick my bag and walk out?
Definitely, maybe no. I might have to consider settling you somehow, but you don't share in the house.
So the decision is absolutely based
on during the course of the marriage. You see, because before marriage, you did not contribute to anything. I did not know you.
So what do I go with? I mean, is it the man considering me?
Yes, the man considering, because if, for example, I have 4 bedrooms self-contained, and then I acquired, and then I brought you into that apartment. In law, I've raised your standard of living. I've introduced you to how to live in 4 bedrooms self-contained, and maybe every place has air conditioning. You see, now you have your own toilet facility, kitchen.
So I'm privileged because of you.
Maybe you were living in a compound house. You see, so I've spoiled you somehow. I've raised the standard. Now, when you are living, the court will not allow me to deteriorate that standard.
Okay.
The court will say that, look, at least put him into a hall and chamber, so that at least after the divorce, you will not look so wretched. But the court will not say that share in the property. But the responsibility is that you've now spoiled the woman. You've introduced her to a certain lifestyle. Don't reduce that standard of living of the woman. So make her comfortable. At least give her an accommodation, either a rented premises, hall and chamber with.
Does it matter who is asking for the divorce?
It doesn't matter. The court is not interested. Once there's divorce, the court will. But it can influence the judge. For example, if one party was the cause, then the court, it can influence the judge in deciding what kind of package, alimony, and then compensation the judge will give you.
So, and this is interesting. I think those persons who want to get married, but they want to get married to people who already have their properties, I guess this is more like be mindful. Because if they have their own houses, they have their own cars and everything, someday when there is a divorce, they can decide what they want to give you.
Yeah, definitely. See, when the man have acquired all those things before you came into the marriage, then you are not entitled to. The man, but the court has the power to make available any of the house to you because the man has spoiled you. He has introduced you to a certain lifestyle. So the court is giving you not because you've contributed, but the court is giving you in order to make sure the standard of living doesn't go down. So if I have 5 houses before I got married to you, when you are living, the court can make an order that I should give you one of the house.
Okay.
Not based on the fact that you contributed, but the fact that I've spoiled you with 5 houses.
Okay.
Then I should not.
But for instance, if I did something bad, if I cheated, and then or if I have decided to walk out of the marriage, depending on who is sitting on the case, the judge can say, okay, since you say you want to walk, the man has not done anything to you. Walk. Well, you're not getting anything.
No, the court. If you want to, you see, the court would. It will affect how much the court want to give you.
Okay.
Maybe the court would have given you 2 houses, but because of your contributing factor, the court may decide that you go and rent an apartment instead of giving you a house.
Okay.
All those influence, the court has discretion.
So if you jointly acquired a car, is it the same rule? We either sell and share?
Yeah, definitely.
Or if we can drive the car equally?
And then possibly share equally. That's the same rule. Okay. The same rule apply. The same rule apply. So couples should be very
So what if you are renting?
Renting, then you don't have interest. You don't have interest. If you are renting, your interest is the number of years.
But okay.
Yeah, so
but you've paid for 2 years.
Yes, you paid for 2 years.
Who stays in it till the rent expires?
It depends upon the court, but the court will take into consideration where there are children. If there are children, at least it's better for you to allow the woman and the children to stay. And if you want the man you want to leave, you leave.
Okay.
But because if you are telling the woman and the children to leave, then you have to go and look for an apartment for them. The court will do that.
What if the situation is as a result of death? Because then nobody can prove that we acquired this property whilst we were married.
Definitely, when death comes in, then the issue of will and international succession law comes in. So it's a different ballgame altogether. Because once there's death, then the issue is that did the man make a will, or did the woman make a will, and then what is the interest of the woman in the property before dying? All those things the court will take into consideration.
Okay, I think we're very familiar with the law 111.
Yeah, PNC
but what exactly does it say in terms of property? What happens to the person who survived?
You see, what happens is that now we need to educate Ghanaians, but the law is undergoing some review currently in Parliament. So if you educate, it will be like the law will change very soon.
But as it is,
what happens is that when any of the spouse dies, then the other spouse will be entitled to one house.
One house.
One house. So if you have 5 houses, the spouse who is alive will be entitled to one.
Is it fair? What if I contributed to building all the 5 houses?
Oh, then the court will look at your interest and share it first. You see the whole thing. Once when you contributed, you have an interest. That one will not be shared.
Okay, but let me take you back a bit. I contributed,
yes,
but I don't have proof of it. I mean, it's the same as the man doing everything in his name, even though I contributed. I mean, I was the wife who was taking care of the kids, who was managing the home, who was not spending so much so that the man can get enough money to save and build the houses.
Yes.
And then he dies.
Yes. No, see, if you can go to court and prove that you are a joint owner of the property, either because you contributed directly or indirectly, then it means that the man owns half of the property, not the full. So it's only the half that will be shared.
But that will be difficult, because if my in-laws also have a very good lawyer and they battle me out in court, they may win.
No, the law and then equity will win. But the court is there to do what is just and fair. So the court will look at the woman, whether was alive, whether the property were acquired during the life of the woman. The court will look at whether the woman was a career woman, and if there's evidence to the fact that he assisted the man, then it means that the woman has interest in the property. Okay.
I'll come to, I have a quick follow-up on that, but let me just say that the lines are open. You can join us with your phone call, your questions, your comments on 0302-211-69102. 0302-211-69102. Okay, I wanted to ask something quickly, but it's just, vanished. So let me ask you something else. Would the court decide, in case if it's a man and the man is dead, would the court say, the man had 5 houses, the woman take one, and then maybe the 3 kids, you take one house,
No.
a house each?
No, if you make a will, then you will decide.
If there's no will?
If there's no will, then here this law comes in. The law says that the wife and the children take one. And the remaining...
It doesn't matter the number of children?
It doesn't matter the number of children. That's why you are reviewing the law. Even children born out of wedlock are also children. That's the danger.
So who decides which of the houses I get?
Normally, it have to be agreed upon. Failure to reach an agreement, the court will decide. You have to go to court and make a case.
So the rest of the properties would go to the man's family?
No, the rest of property then is shared among the children and the wife. They have a portion they take. They will take one of the houses and put it down, and they have an interest in the property where they have some percentage. The man, if the mother and the father is alive, they also have a percentage, and then the family also have a percentage. That's what happens.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm giving you the opportunity to give us a call with your comments and your questions. 0302-211-6912. My guest is the Dr. Morris Ampao. We're talking property rights today. Very interesting. And I do have somebody joining us. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Nasimma. I hope I got it right.
No, you're not right.
My apologies. Okay, all right. Let's hear you, sir.
I'm calling from the Upper West region.
Okay.
Yeah, what if you are a Muslim and you have got married to 4 wives, and your wife, one of your wives wants to go out and ask for divorce? And what to do on this one? Because, you know, Muslims, we can go for 4 wives.
Okay. Hello? All right. I'm with you. Did you get that?
Yes, very interesting.
Okay,
very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You see, he's looking at a situation whereby Muslims can go for 4 wives. So can we have a situation whereby a man have 4 wives? And out of the wives, during the course of the marriage, he acquired the property. That means that all the wives have interest in that property. So if one is leaving, the court will look at the proportion. How much interest, and then give it to that woman. You see the thing? So the court will look at the 4 wives and their various interests and the interest of the man. And share it accordingly.
Interesting. If it's one house,
yes,
what we're talking about.
Definitely.
All right. Anetus is my next caller. Hello, good morning. You're on air.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, sir. Please, let's hear you.
I like your program. I'd like to congratulate you for instituting it. Then my question is, you have a wife, you are both working. Once the man is struggling to put up a building for all of you to stay, the wife is using her money to also go and build at their home, the father's house, or building a house there. So in such a situation, how are you going to share the property? You are investing your money into a building for all of you to stay. He is using her money that he gets from a website to go and invest at their home. Is it okay?
Okay, I get you. Is it a bit twisted? The woman is using her money for investments.
Yes.
And you are using your money, you know, to build. In that case, I mean, if you don't leave a will, what happens?
When you don't leave
or even if there's a divorce.
There's a divorce. You say that's why you have to go to court and prove that the woman also have assets. So if the woman is asking for assets from you, you also tell the court that the woman also have had acquired.
So what if you don't know?
That is the problem.
You don't know
if
that the woman is using her money for some investment somewhere.
Definitely, then that is out of an issue, because once you don't know, you cannot bring before the court. It's not before the court. But if you get to know, you can bring the matter. So that is why you need to, as couple, you need to make sure that you openly discuss things. But to be frank, these days a lot of men are acquiring property, their wife are not aware.
Yeah. And some women too. I mean, there's a shocking story.
So it's mistrust, in marriage. These days people are marrying and they don't trust each other.
Yeah.
And you see, I am looking at the law. You see, the law is rigid. We should find a way out to build trust in marriages and to educate couples that, look, when we are married, these are the consequences. So why don't you amicably share your property than maybe allow the court to do it for you?
Okay. Let me speak to Gladys now. Hello, Gladys.
Hello.
Yes, Gladys. Thank you for calling.
Say, Bema no worry me, no. Papa no worry me, no. Na say, Baku. na baako na owuye no owo ba baako me maame wo me nko na owo me ba ni stepmother no ne maye 5 ena be 2 years na me papa ni nso wuye enti say omo cheja fade na me ne me stepmother na owo ma 5 no ene me a me nko no me say no so say ja fade no be anything.
Okay, all right, Gladys. Let me try. Thank you. Let me try and interpret that. If you're Dos, you be my last call. I think I should pick you before I do the translation. Hello, Dos.
Yeah.
Yes, Dos Santos.
How
You're
are
on. Very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Tell the doctor, Maurice Sampa, I have followed him throughout the court issues, the petitions. Yeah, I want to know if the man is contributing by paying school fees and other utilities at home, and the woman was able to use her money to do something. What of that one too?
To do something like as in to build?
Like property and other things. Does the law favor only the women or both men and the women?
Okay,
I want to know.
All right. But I guess I can say straight away, no, it doesn't favor only the women. But let me just quickly do the interpretation of Gladys. And her scenario was the father married 2 and then lost 1. The one that was lost, unfortunately, was her mother. Father subsequently dies, but the other wife has 5 children. So what happens to sharing of property? It means that now the children are 6 and there's 1 surviving mother.
And the surviving mother will take the role of the mother. And then the other children. But you know
the issue with stepmothers and stepchildren?
No, you see, that is where you need the service of a lawyer to look at the nitty-gritty of the matter and then quickly present a very good case before court so that the court will look at the issues and do what is just and fair.
Okay.
Because in this situation, the court must look at the issues and decide what is just and fair.
Okay.
So she has a case, you should talk to a lawyer. If he doesn't have money, she go to legal aid and explain legal aid, explain the issues, and then they look at the legal implications and then they will advise and then take the matter.
Okay.
So that whatever interest you have in the property, you'll be given.
Okay. And legal aid is everywhere in the country. I think the last time you were saying every region.
In Ghana, every region.
Okay.
In the district, we do have some legal aid.
Okay, so quickly on Dos Santos. I think I said that the law doesn't only favor women.
You see, let me say, when there is divorce, everybody brings his or her property to the table.
So see, if there's a divorce, but the woman has a shop, has like a supermarket, and the man was using his money to, like Dos said, to pay school fees, will the issue of the woman having a store, play any part when we go to court?
Yes, it will play a part, because now both parties are going to do a true and frank disclosure of whatever they have. You swear affidavit of proof of means. We call it affidavit of means. Everybody should come truly tell the court what are the properties that are in issue. So we call it affidavit of means. So if you swear affidavit and tell the court that I work at this place, this is my salary, I owe these houses. If you fail to do so, the man can pinpoint, so that every property will be brought on the table, so that the court will do what is just and fair.
Okay. All right, we'll take on another subject, but for today, I want to say thank you, Dr. Maurice Sampa. I mean, it's always really enjoyable talking to you. All right, stay with us. Up